Do you think your childhood had anything to do with being able to be?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Childhood, but I also had a supervisor there, and they had a saying that was hungry, humble, smart. And that was their motto. Everybody was hungry, humble, smart. Maybe a little racist, a little sexist, but they were hungry, humble, and smart. And that stuck with me because when there was times where we couldn't get a load covered and our customer was like, hey, I don't care what you do. If you lose this, you lose $1 million contract. Right. Get it moved. Right. We were all there, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Yeah. We were always constantly working, and that's where the humble comes in. Because a lot of people getting into the industry, like for the first time, they don't realize there's some real life humility. There's some days where if we have staff out or someone that can't handle something, I'm posting content. I'm calling, dispatching drivers. I'm filling in for whatever. And that's that humble part that I learned there. Right. It was tough. But
at any point, did you get overwhelmed? Or were you ever ready to quit?
Oh, yes, a lot.
And how did you keep going?
The money. I looked at my commission paychecks. I would print them and put them in my drawer. So when I wanted to quit, I'd pull out that commission check. And even after they took 30%, 32%, the government got theirs. I'd look and I'd be like, okay,
right.
Keep going.
And what type of money were you making back then?
So monthly commissions were anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000. And that was good for me starting off because I was new in the industry. I didn't even realize it could get better.
Right.
And then we would get yearly bonuses. So if we hit our KPIs for the year, everyone would get paid out per team at the beginning of the year. And that was like closer to like $10,000 and up. So depending on the year. So to me, going from, just making all right money to like making good money and a salary plus getting commission. Right. I was like, okay, I'm doing this.
No doubt.
Entrepreneurship never crossed my mind at that time though.
Okay. So
I didn't.
When does entrepreneurship start to cross your mind?
So my son got diagnosed with epilepsy and I had to keep taking him to the doctor. And they were like, oh, you got another excuse. Oh, your child's sick again. And it snows up there. So between school being closed for snowstorms and taking him to the doctor, like, you're missing a lot of work. Right. And I was like, if I was working for myself, I wouldn't have to deal with this. Right. It's because I'm working for someone else. Right. And so that's the real live moment. I've always had like a hustle to me. So I was like, selling vacuums or selling Mary Kay or selling It Works. But the actual like being a business owner, running a business, a legitimate business crossed my mind. I said, I wish I had the freedom. I wish I could do this job and have the freedom. Right. So my son was hospitalized and we were going through a lot, trying to get his medication right. And they were like, take some time off. So I took some time off and the time extended and they were like, hey, we're not going to hold your job for you. And so they let me go. And I was like, man, I'm just out here trying to figure things out. So I started consulting. Okay. And I realized that those same problem solving skills and negotiating skills I could use to help other small business owners. How'd you
realize that consulting was actually a thing? Like, how'd you know that was something that you could do?
I actually was thrusted into it. People were like, Shay, you used to work here. Help me. Okay. Help me with this. Help me with this. And sometimes I didn't even know how to help them, but I could find somebody for them that could. Okay. And that's when I was like, okay, I can do this. My husband and I were like, let's move to Georgia. We were just wanting something different. We're wanting to, they always say that Georgia is like Black Hollywood and
Wakanda.
So, literally. Everyone up north, they're like, and it felt good. Right. That was the first time that I came down south and I was like, I was going places and everyone was Black. Right. And I was like, and they weren't poor because up north, you know how it is.
That's the key.
The Black people that I knew from up north were either very affluent where they didn't even want to talk to a peasant like me, right? Right. Or they lived in Camden and they were just trying to make it up out of Camden. Right. So, I didn't get to see a lot of affluent Black people in Jersey. It was just all like middle class. So coming here, I was like, wow. And every person I talked to, I'd be like, what do you do? And they'd be like, I'm an entrepreneur. Right. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, no, what exactly do you do? Real estate, investing, and logistics. Right. And I was like, I'm not going into logistics. So when COVID happened, we had met some people from our church, our business partners now. Okay. But then we didn't know that they would be our business partners. and they owned a transportation company. And so they were doing airport shuttles, school shuttles, everything. Basically transporting essential people, essential places, right?
Okay.
And COVID happened and they couldn't transport people anymore. Everything was shut down. And because I had kind of formed a consultant relationship with them, they were like, let's do something new. And I was like, well, we could always open a brokerage. Although I said I would never go back into logistics, I saw the opportunity.
Right.
So my business partner, Tisa, and myself, we sat for a few months actually and really just started writing down what that looked like. We were doing research because, again, I had worked as a broker agent, but I had never, ever ran a business at that magnitude, because a brokerage is not a small business, if you're going to do it right.
Right.
It's not a small investment.
Right.
And because they had that business acumen from being in business for a while, we're like, this is an awesome partnership. So the two of us really, really spent a lot of time researching. The number one question I get is from people is, well, how did you start your brokerage?
Right.
And what did you do?
Right.
And I researched. The two of us, we would sit for hours. We would read every industry article we could, because we really wanted to figure out what was going to set us apart. What was going to make us different, right? Here in Atlanta, there's a lot of transportation companies. I didn't even realize how many until I actually started the business. And I was like, wow, there's a lot, but not a lot of them are profitable.
Right.
And there's a lot of women-owned businesses, but only 1% gets over $1 million. And so that was enough for me to be like, I want to do this differently.
Gotcha.
Because I'm going to defy the odds. I'm going to be that Black woman-owned business that gets over $1 million. But I knew that foundation was the most important part to it.
Awesome. So what are the things that you guys did to stand out?
Okay, so what we did is, first of all, we picked what our equipment focus was going to be. I came from a reefer background, cold storage. I didn't like it. I didn't like reefers. I didn't like dealing with reefers. So I said from the gate, off the list, I don't want to do any reefers. Now we do reefers every now and again, but it's not our core, core industry.
Competency. Right.
So we started talking about the things that we enjoyed, the things that we were knowledgeable in. We realized that there was family that we had in the aerospace industry or avionics. And we noticed that as we started going to different virtual events to learn more about these industries, there was no Black women there. Wow. So we saw the opportunity. And of course, right now, because of Black Lives Matter, it's like the fad to do business with women and Black women. So we were like, let's go into a space where not a lot of people look like us. Yeah. And we realized that not a lot of people are in that space because the cargo is high value. So it's really expensive, which means your insurance is, you're talking in the millions range. You're talking about a small crate that's legal size to go on a flatbed, being a thrust reverser, being worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, only 2,000 pounds, but you're talking about $400,000 for a part. Right. That's why there's not a lot of us in that space, because the barriers to entry are really high. Yep.
So you found your niche first.
Right. That's the first thing we did.
And you said it's an aerospace.
Yes,
that's
we said aerospace.
Really different.
And you know what's crazy? We had other people tell us not to do aerospace. They're like, no, go with retail, go with dry food, because that's the easiest way. So we tried that we mixed that a little bit in the beginning, and we were like, no, aerospace. Right. We filed our business license in June. We had our grand opening in October of last year. We got our first customer that Monday. Our grand opening was on Friday. We got our first customer that Monday, and it was an aerospace company.
How?
They saw a post that we did. We positioned ourselves. So I made sure everything I posted about was aerospace. I posted, I want to do business with aerospace. I shared, we joined aviation groups. We joined avionics groups. We just immersed ourselves in that industry. You get noticed when you do that.
Gotcha.
And that's the first thing I tell people. You need something that's going to make you completely different than your competitor.
Right.
Because they'll follow after you, but it'll never be the same as how you do it.